All right. Welcome. Hello. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to actually one of the first weeks of the ALTTPR Invitational ladder races for groups. This is Open Plus, the beginning of what I think what season 12 now. Yeah, it says, you know what? It says it right there on the on the screen. This is gonna be a really exciting match. We've got Eri versus Obscure, two names where if you haven't heard of these guys by now, you are in for a real treat because we have two of the best possible players in the entire community. I am Claire Mouse. Joined with me on commentary is Alex. Alex, how are you doing? Are you ready?
Yeah, what's up, Ross? I'm pretty ready. I don't know if our runners are ready, but I sure hope so.
Well, I'm looking at Aries' screen here, and it says that we're dashing. And especially this is also an off week for the main tournament, so I think people are also kind of getting break from there. So it's actually really nice to actually have the ladder invitational start as well. I believe one of the things notable probably differences is especially Aries' experience is that he is really looking forward to be able to dash from second zero versus all of his other main tournament matches where, might have been a little more slower starts.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think you said it to me before. I was racing him in the tournament. You don't want Airy with boots. So
Yes. Yeah.
so
I was
Obscure
also
is up against something there, but Obscure is also a really good runner as well. So I expect this one to be very close. I hope so, at least.
Oh, no. I mean, so, just a couple of, accolades. Airy, of course, very well known NMG world record holder, won, several, tournaments, recently. I think he was like, Mystery Pot Championship, Quick Cross Champion. He has like placed top finishes in a million different things. Obscure though, it's not like he is a slouch. He is I believe actually fourth place in last year's main tournament. Actually quite active on ladder, which is of course while we're all here watching these two guys. Execution wise, I certainly expect nothing but the best. Routing wise, I'm also kind of curious to see what creative routes both Obscure and Airy might tend to take. I think it should be actually for a very good race.
Yeah, so routing wise, I know Obscure is very, what do you say, he likes to skip stuff. Not only because of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, so selective, selective choice, of where in this case, you'd like to go.
Yeah, so we're off, I
We
think,
are
so.
off, yeah. Alright, looks like, oh yeah, we got already two different starts. Airy already picking up, looks like probably a regular 5 rupees. We have nothing really to our name, so not that 5 rupees is going to be used for any, replacements. Obscure actually picking up bombos, in,
Yeah, so that's
in our fish house.
that's already a huge lead with that bombos, right?
Yeah, especially when we don't have the sword. But once I guess we get it, are you diving into Ice Palace?
Oh yeah, immediately. I mean, we're missing a few stuff before we can actually do that, but
it's it probably might be against some rules, but it's probably stopped. Hasn't really stopped people yet.
Obscure's routing here pays off early game, already a bottle before going to Kakariko.
Oh, did you just see what Airy picked up as well? He picked up the mirror here in Lossless Dropdown. That is something that is super handy. Gonna make Light World and Dark World so nice. Some runners, especially like the Ghost variety, tends to think that the mirror automatically makes the game very playable.
I mean, an early mirror is like something you will not say no to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we also did get a quick map check. On Obscure side, though, it looks like we are actually already getting live feed. I didn't actually catch any of it, but our awesome tracker today, K-Mir, has actually been clicking all the buttons. Looks like we got red crystals at Desert and Moldor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was a pendant in Easter.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think it was a pendant.
We're hopefully we're gonna find out soon on Aries side as confirmation, but we should be all good. And of course, yeah, so part of, the Open Plus is that, we do see both Airy and the fish, dashing around. That means we get pseudo boots. We get all of the speed as of the real boots, but, you did see that Airy actually took a peek inside what is on the library, but, even though he is actually short a little bit of, he's in a little bit of financial turmoil, he could not pick up the 300 because we don't have bonking ability quite yet until we get those real boots.
I mean, you could bonk, but you
Yeah,
must get
that's
the
true.
item.
You just can't get it off. We're just not strong enough that bad boy. By the way, speaking of bombos in Ice Palace, we got a sword here in the well. We also got a quake here in Chicken Hut. But we've already got so much ability right now to be able to use those medallions.
Yeah, so we're getting a few items here, which you kind of expect when it's Kakariko early on. But then again, if you watch the main tournament, there's been races where there's been zero progression inside Kakariko as well. So I guess you can't really, what do you say now again? Expect anything from Kakariko.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Also, I'm noticing that so Aries also picking up flippers. Hopefully he doesn't die here in Kakariko because he is only on 1 heart. Obscure, kind of suffering from Aries, very similar to Aries, financial troubles here. Does not have enough money to pay off the bottle binder.
Yeah, that's a quite unfortunate, but I mean, you will probably go back here a few times before you're done with the seed. Well, hopefully you don't last locate anything else.
Oh, dude, we also found Master Sword as well. Oh, yeah, that's right, because, Obscure, yeah, without any bombs or money, he actually could not get to the back of the well. I think he was maybe hoping, in this case, to find some bombs inside the well, except it did not work. Hopefully this is not something that he forgets, because a Master Sword is pretty useful here.
Well, he didn't manage to get the flippers as well from Blindside, so hopefully he will go back and not skip because he had he had a small incident in his Open Plus ladder invitational race yesterday. So I hope okay.
All right. Well, he was also kind of short on bombs, and actually, you saw that in this case, Sikian also had bombs with that bottle that he ended up picking up. But it's just like, oh. All right. Hopefully, in this case, he will eventually, go back because that sword, is especially from Fighter Sword to Master Sword, that is a pretty hefty offensive advantage. The Aries gonna have early on.
Yeah, and I'm just very scared right now for Obscure side that he just never went back for his item. So.
Yeah, no, of course, the good news is that, all 4 swords are actually still plays. You see that Obscure actually, trying to do, a pseudo boots bonk setup. It's going to be close enough. Actually see that you can't, ricochet, I guess, as much as you can with the real boost, but still manages to get in position if Big Flipper can turn into this mushroom immediately.
That was pretty slick, actually, from Obscure. I didn't think you can actually bonk that much with the pseudo boots. I never really played with pseudo boots, so.
Yeah, I think the bonking, the animation is actually a little bit different. So I think it's just something you get used to it. It looks like though Obscure is going to safe scum this mushroom. We don't have anything really, else to help us make powder. Like Canis Maria, or even to get to the powder to begin with, like a hammer. But you never really know when these things are going to show up.
Yeah, you never know with a game mode like this, and like you said, powder could be anywhere as well. So it's just better to keep the mushroom for later.
Yeah. We also see that both Airy and Obscure has the mirror out in their Y spot item. And not any danger for, Obscure, since he's going to take a shortcut in order to get this, only to make a 1-trip visit to the dam. Airy, I really hope that he does not accidentally press the mirror before he, opens up the chest.
Yeah, I think that may have happened to me.
May happen, right? It's certainly not for certain, right?
Yeah, it never happened.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
It's only a possibility. I'm sure nobody else has ever done that. Yes.
No, never in the history of Rando.
Oh, it's like the Airy Does he not want to? Okay. We don't have to use the mirror. Maybe he just wants a death warp back.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with that one.
Okay,
But,
all right. No worries. Maybe he just wanted his health back after taking a little bit of damage. I guess I'm not sure. But looks like Obscura, though, on the other hand, it looks he is being a little bit more efficient. And did check out Akina. That is a location that doesn't tend to get checked as much. But looks like Obscure is willing to kind of I guess cover more of his bases. Maybe that is kind of like a strategy against Harry.
I think it's more like check locations that you don't think Eri will check. At least not in the early game, but it's so hard to tell because Eri is so fast whenever he has like boots or fake boots, pseudo boots, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It's so hard to like tell what he's going to do. And there's real.
Oh, hey, they're real boots. Yeah, we don't have to worry anymore about actually worrying about what does pseudo boots do, what pseudo can't do. Obscure. Oh, jeez. Obscure has found both the boots and the flute. Okay, so I think not bottle vendor. The back of the well is actually now something that Obscure is hopefully going to remember to do because he has every reason now to go back to Kakariko.
Yeah, I really hope that he doesn't skip Blind's Hut and Cack well now, but you never know with Obscure. So
okay, yeah, that is certainly a very true statement. Now, of course, Eri is going to get pick up his boots and flute very shortly. Now, it looks like Obscure, though, opting to pick up or save and quit at a mini Moldar Cave. Unknown, I guess, at this point, if he is, I guess, going to flute back to Ice Rod Cave. Money certainly seems to be, somewhat stingy. At the beginning, we did get a nice 300 from mini Moldar Cave, but we are still quite a ways away from that 500 mark.
Clear Mouse, did you see what Obscurious did?
He's fluting to the mountain.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So that sword is just going to just appreciate in value in the well or in the cave in the back of the well. It's almost like a treasure chest, right? Like the longer you kind of leave it there, like the more value it has, something like that.
Yeah, I'm just more like worried that he will not pick up his flippers here soon. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. You wonder actually him being a fish, especially like the damn fish, right?
Yeah, he
should just be able to yeah. Already. All right, okay. We actually got a real nice and long map check. It's like Pendant Thieves and Green Pendant Swamp. Everything else is irregular this time.
Yeah, so I know for a fact that Obscure really like he hates the what it's called now, Pendant Thieves Town. So
oh really?
he really hates it. So he will most likely not dip the dungeon.
Okay, all right. Well, so I guess maybe the good news, quote unquote, for Obscure is that it is a regular pendant. It's not the green pendant. So it's not going to be, I would say, as enticing to try and like clear out the back.
Yeah, it's more like he just skips it. Even if it's a green pendant, he always tends to skip it out.
Okay, all right. So yeah, Eri, if you're gonna watch this back, and you have to face Obscure kind of sometime in the future, which main tournament or any future tournaments, this is something good to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's also good for people that might have like the same ranking as Obscure has on the ladder. So if you see,
yeah, Obscure, that's true. That is true.
If you see Obscure signing up for a ladder race, that could be a thing to remember.
All right. It looks like Eri did Obscure check off Crocs. I don't remember if he did. It was nothing right now. But if he didn't, then nothing was lost.
No, I actually think he just dashed through it, and there's the lamp. So
there is the lamp.
It's more like looking for a enemy at this point, and that sword that he will need is in the well. So
that's actually exactly what I was actually thinking once we got the lamp, because initially it's like, okay, well, he skips a sword, it's gonna be pretty, it's still gonna put him at a deficit, but it's not gonna be insurmountable, right? But if that master sword was the logical one that we needed in order to get to Dark World, so we could break the barrier, Obscure is going to have to go back for that.
Yeah, sooner or later, but it's just gonna end up with him like super last locating that sword. So at this point, because he had flute and the biggest opportunity to go back and skipped going back to it.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, also looks like confirming it by our tracker K-Mir. There is one item left in the basement. I believe the lamp was the only one we got. Everything else was like a compass and a map, and well, a small key was dropped on Muldorm. A good thing we got a fire source, by the way, from from the big chest, because otherwise we could not have gotten the second item. But looks like Obscure actually is not going to be interested in this.
In this position at Obscure, I don't know, like it's so early on that I would probably check Hera basement.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Obscure ended up peaking out 300, so that is going to be, the remaining of his, I guess, like working fish life, and he could probably retire happily with 650 whatever rupees. Going to be enough for Azora if we need to go to pod. It's probably going to be enough. You probably scrounge up a little bit along the way, for like spending cash. We want to play some, some games, right? Dig game, chess games, stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't need that many rupees in this game mode, but like there's 300 rupees on library as well, so.
Oh yeah, that's a very excellent point. It was like it's like our nest egg for retirement. We just it's just like it's gonna just sit up there and hopefully accrue some interest.
It's just gonna be there and like waiting whenever they
exactly
hit, the game or anything. They're like missing like 100 rupees, and I'm oh yeah, right, library.
Oh yeah, actually that's actually a really good point. And the fact that it's in the library, right? Especially if they go in there for the Dark World, that early mirror is going to basically let them just mirror right over, right? If they're really strapped for cash, like it is a really like easy access point in order to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do see that Obscure with enough funds, it looks like he is going to, go to Zora. And of course, this is actually one thing that, real boots can do versus pseudo boots. You can water walk with real boots. You cannot do that with pseudo boots. Speaking of not being able to do something with pseudo boots, Eri has magically just floated over this gap. It looks like he's going to bomb over. Man, no bonking required. Isn't that amazing, Alex? Who would bonk? It's such a rock.
Not even bonking, but by the way, Obscure picking up hookshot.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So there's still around.
Oh man, those those silvers. Is Obscure gonna be able to get them?
I don't think he can do it with the loadout he have right now. Okay. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
Alright. That's definitely AGMC right now.
Yeah. I confirm that's gonna be our weapon to be used against Ag. Oh man, though, those. So Obscure, like the two items that Obscure is right now is missing over Eri, right, is, the Master Sword, which of course we're thinking at this point it potentially is required for Ag access. But right now, permanently with those flippers, Eri is going to be able to easily get the silvers off of Zora Ledge because, well, in this case, Eri has them, and Obscure does not have any means in order to get those silvers. And so I'm not actually sure if those silvers are going to be in the cards today for Obscure.
Like, so for Obscure, he knows that Flippers is out there, right? Because you just picked them up. Or, well, you picked up Hookshot. So hopefully he realized that they're right there in Gekko soon, because I'm super worried at this point.
Yeah. Alright, so Eri's actually showing us... Oh, never mind. You know what? I totally must have missed that. Okay, so we don't have to go to the basement at all, Hera basement, because it looks like Eri just picked up actually the lamp and a heart piece, from the compass chest. So no worries basically at this point.
Did Obscure skip that one? Or
that's a good question. There's no way, right?
I mean, you never know with Obscure.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, I was gonna say, so having no hookshot though, because Eri hasn't been able to been over to the Zora area and Waterfall Ferry, he is going to do this the good old-fashioned NMG way. Hello, hammer in Paradox Cave. Okay, that is one more piece.
Oh, that's quite convenient actually to get that hammer, but it doesn't unlock anything right now.
Yeah, right, because early mirror and the hook shot that Obscure got, basically gave them the rest of its access to, Death Mountain. And so the hammer basically can get you, it opens up the path, back to, Hera. Yeah. But yeah, Obscure about picking up powder. Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, there is our tempered sword.
That's quite nice for Obscure, but that makes me a bit more worried that he will skip Blind Shot and a Well at this point.
Yeah, I mean, so like, right, so strictly based on our pendants and crystals, right? The fact that Swamp is, you know, a pendant, if nothing is in Swamp, even though it's green pendant, right, you know, we could in this case, I think, as Mike pointed out in chat earlier, that, you know, flippers may not actually be, you know, hard required for Obscure and Airy. That being said, though, it's still a little
I
bit more
think it's
precarious.
I think it's pointing towards like you have to go and do Swamp.
Mm.
Like you have like
I
everything
actually.
period.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like, looking at our equipment, right? You know, we haven't gotten to Darkhold yet. Obscure, please don't die here. It's fine, okay? You know, but once we get there, right? You know, we got the hammer, we got the mirror, we got the hook shot. We do have flippers on Aries' side. Swamp Palace is, you know, is wide open and welcoming.
Yeah,
or as welcoming
like,
as you're gonna get.
I think the main question right now is where is Moon Pearl at this point,
Oh.
or a glove?
Minor details.
I'm just more like curious because we also picked up powder.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Paradox Cave.
Alright, looks like the Obscure is just reminding himself that Swamp Palace is indeed our green pendant, but he's gonna go give us some new checks here in Asaha. Oh, jeez, we have a book.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
well, I mean, you know, the desert's not fully open, right?
We still need a glove, but I mean, it would be fun if we could actually beat the dungeon, because then we would have Pyramid Fairies as we enter Dark World. So
that is true. I would also like to. I'd also like to say that we totally did. This is Aries' definite first time here inside Paradox Cave. He definitely, you know, did not accidentally push the block without deleting it. And so he's only definitely here for the first time. Don't worry.
Okay, so Obscure going straight for Desert. I mean, makes sense, right? You can get 2 items if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got a fire source, and you know, kind of like right now, based on what we've also seen on Aries' side, right? The flipper checks, you know, well, also, you know, on Obscure side, right? The flipper checks haven't really led to anything more in terms of like access or progress, right? We did get the hook shot, but both of them have the hook shot, and so you know, it's certainly very possible that, you know, something is going to be here in Desert,
unless
of course it is Aga, yeah.
Or Hobo.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about Hobo.
Everybody skips him, so
yeah, that's true.
It's gonna end up blast locating Moon Pearl on Hobo at this point. Oh no, it's not on Pyramid. Let's go to Eastern.
That's right. We have Pendant Eastern wide open to both Airy and Obscure. You know, Obscure looks like he is only willing to, at this point, check Sapphire and not go into Eastern. I guess I'm kind of curious to see if he goes into Eastern before he goes, you know, back to Kakariko. Looks like, though, we are not going to get our second item in Desert. It is on Land Molus, which, we, of course, I think you just said earlier, we're going to need a glove in order to get the second thing.
Yeah, so that's quite... Where's Obscure going? Oh man, I thought it was going to just backtrack and go back and check the ether tablet.
Oh, I forgot about the ether tablet that opened up with the book.
Where was the book now again?
The book was in Paradox Cave.
Okay.
No, it was definitely.
No, it wasn't Saha?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right. It was in Saha, that's right.
Oh,
yeah, it was one of the...
Okay, we got all the medallions.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, right. So, right, Obscure ended up safe scumming his mushroom and thinking that maybe he'll get powder access later. But in this case, yeah, Eric gave us a check for the real powder, well, we don't have to worry in this case about any medallions today. Whether, you know, whatever Meyer and Crystal, Turtle Rocks are, we're basically to have access to everything. Certainly, assuming that, of course, Obscure eventually goes back and, you know, and gets Magic Bat.
Ares is actually going to give us the Hobo player, so nice. By the way, Obscure finally doing Kakariko well.
Okay, nice. So he's gonna get his flippers. That's gonna be. Oh no, he's gonna get his book here, or not book, sword, tempered sword.
Yeah,
Too many good items. Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't skip the line set, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually probably the more important thing. Obscure being on Master Sword, of course, means that he can't finish the game. It is still a pretty major difference, between Master Sword and Temperate Sword. But at least he's not, gonna be in like Sword Go mode or something like that. But looks like he's kind of wrapping up some of his loose ends. He will be at least, rewarded with the flippers. A little bit of peace of mind here.
So okay, so now I'm feeling safe now. Like he will not laugh at it.
Yeah. So I guess, but I mean, so Obscure, is he gonna go and do Hobo then? I guess at this point.
I don't know. It's so hard to tell when it's Obscure live form playing.
We're still right now missing, some sort of Dark World access though. You mentioned this earlier. We're looking for Moon Pearl. We're looking for a glove. Maybe even, 2, because we have seen basically, many things between our two runners. I think maybe the only things that are kind of outstanding is probably where Eri is going right now, and into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, so I actually do believe that we only have Eastern and Ether tablet left.
Oh, right, and tablets, yeah, that's right.
Unless you want to, like, use your key in Hyrule Castle differently, so you go through back instead of going to Celestial. Which I don't think you do in a game mode like this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
oh, wow.
Alright, look at the value that Eastern Palace has. This is definitely one of the dungeons that people seem to be very polarized in terms of opinion. And, Eri is, just validating, the fact that Eastern Palace is very worthwhile of your time.
See, this is why I did Eastern Palace.
Looks like though Eri's gonna keep going. It is a pendant. We did get the first one, which is a glove that is, certainly a very, very important piece. We're still missing the Moon Pearl though. Of course, if we end up getting maybe something else in Eastern, that would also be pretty swell.
Yeah, so I think that's what he's doing right now. He's just gonna go and hope for a Moon Pearl here. Or maybe Mitts, I guess. Oh, right. So, Eri can actually clear Desert right then.
Oh yeah, that is true. He has not, gone over to the Desert Palace area. Looks like he is just, he basically continued from Saha to Eastern. Yeah, so he is, with that lamp, he got in Hera. Looks like he is going to be able to, fully, at least get the second item and a second crystal, basically, to his name. Obscure looks like he is making the decision, to basically dive in, at least do, okay. Looks like he is going to go to Aga immediately. He is not going to go into Aga immediately. He wants the save and quit portal.
Yeah, he's just going to be around and up there, so hopefully we'll just save and quit and not Death Warp because...
Oh, is that faster than mirroring, I guess, to the front? I guess it must be, right?
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, it has to be a little bit faster.
Okay. Alright, looks like though Eri is no bow, means that we can't get to, to Armos. The second item looks like was in the middle of the key chest, which was just some money, so that is the extent of the value, at least we can get out of Eastern Palace right now.
Yeah, so Eri has Ether Tablet, Desert Palace, and Bag of Escape left, and then it's item. So there's still a few... Well, I don't think you go back up and do Ether Tablet right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's not probably the worst, I guess, I check in the world, at this point, but yeah, I mean, especially right now, we've checked so many things, and it's really, like, feeling like an Agassi, right?
Yeah, and also the fact that we're, like, 30 minutes into, and then we still don't have Dark World access. But then again, whenever we hit Dark World, we can clear a lot of dungeons. Well, technically we only beat 2, I think. 2 Pennant dungeons. That's one.
Great. Just exactly what. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, like, I'm sure that's exactly, what Eri and Obscure are looking forward to. It's like, oh, let me go get Dark World access. I can finally, play more of the game. It's like, okay, what can I go beat? Oh, I can go beat Pendant Swamp. Oh, I can go beat Pendant Thieves. Great. what a decision. It's like, what are my
That would be
choices here?
so depressing.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, hopefully, the mids at some point are going to show up as well. We're just basically looking at, our access points, right? With mids, we can fake flipper, no, we get a real flipper into Ice Palace. That's going to be, really nice. No King of Samaria, though, means it's going to be a little bit slower. But if we get mids, so Mire area is looking pretty good. I mean, Dark Earth Mountains also open up. There are a lot of much better options than, Pendant Dungeons.
It's gonna be interesting here to see if Okay, so I think the worst part here is if like Obscure does this, and there's no Moon Pearl or anything. What do you do? Because I guess you have to go to Eastern, but
Eastern. I mean, but he does. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's true. Because we're still short a glove on Obscure side, so he really can't do right now what Ares doing, which is gonna go claim his second crystal.
This is like the worst scenario if you're playing against Harry, in my opinion. Like you end up in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, though, especially if you think Aga is very likely, right? It actually sometimes depending on how aggressive of mentality you are, actually it can pay off like pretty well too. Especially just because you kind of like save yourself doing some of the other checks. But looks like, speaking of, Eri, very quickly took down a Lamolis, unfortunately with no bow, but that is a second crystal, and it was just only one single green rupee for his prize.
But it's also rewarded. It's also rewarded with another red crystal. So whenever, like, he can just do whatever he wants whenever he hit Dark World.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Obscure does need to be a little bit careful here in Castle Tower. He is only on 2 hearts. So this is also, one of the features of Open Plus, is that it is slightly on a, more, I guess, like health conscious and safety conscious item set. Where there are 2 regular heart containers, 1 sank heart, and everything else you're gonna get are 3 heart pieces. And so this is kind of why, so the health growth, you have to see that both Airy and Obscure are on 6 maximum total hearts, and it's kind of a consequence of, well, you don't pick up, that many items or heart pieces, so health is going to be a little bit slower in this case.
I do actually like this from Airy. He's checking Ethers out before he does anything else.
Looks like, though, Ether Tablet is only another 5 rupees.
We're down to back to escape now, unless it's on what is it called now? Pyramid?
Sorry, Pyramid. Alright, so we have, were there 3? There's this Castle Tower small key here too, right? Or sorry, Hyrule Castle smart key inside?
Yeah, Hyrule Castle.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 items here. Small key.
Small key bombs
and Moon Pearl, so
well,
it's not
wow. Alright, so Pendant Eastern Cannonball Chest was where our gloves were. That is the value to actually open up the back of Escape. That is Ares Dark World access, and hopefully in this case for Obscure, he's not going to get too many blue balls. I've actually kind of lost track.
Yeah, I've lost track as well. And the worst part is, like, even if you get a lot of blue balls here, like, you do the climb and you have all these blue balls, and it's not, like, whenever you hit Dark World, it's not a, like...
Oh yeah, that's true, that's true. Because because so Aga does give you Dark World access, but as a fishbone, you really can't do very much. And so what Obscure I think is really hoping for here is something, a glove or potentially the pearl, because then especially a pearl, that would be confirmation that it was a pretty potent accuracy at that point.
Yeah. I wonder what Obscure is doing right now.
Where is he going?
And Airy right now is just insta-diving that red bomb. I can't blame him because, I mean, you had access to this super early this time around. So I guess there's gonna be something there, right?
Oh, yeah, especially early on, right? there's probably a reason why, in this case, like, the game kind of plays these things, very early on for 6 crystals. And this is also a good opportunity for him to, potentially check the pyramid as well. You always kind of want to try and combine these things together, just because, the trek from, the bomb shop and to the pyramid is not exactly like the fastest, trek that you can have. So always nice to be able to efficiently combine your checks.
I don't. Oh, wow.
That's
wow.
really
Well,
important. Holy cow.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
this is quite unfortunate for Obscure side. I mean, you can't really do much in a seed like this. I don't feel like you can do much differently. But this is just amazing routing from Eri.
From Eri, yeah. The decisions in this case, that Eri has made, probably in particular, going into, in this case, like Eastern Palace, earlier than Obscure in this case, basically, before going into Desert, right, gave Eri, much more motivation in this case to go and, clear out Desert, in one go. After Desert Palace, well then, Eri ended up being with those gloves, checked the back of Escape as well. And so then, after the back of Escape with the Pearl, got his Darkhold access, did Pyramid Fairy, because we got, Desert, and Hera crystals out of the way really early. Which in this case it led to, of course, Eri picking up the one bow, because bows are not progressive, and with that bow, right? We talked about earlier how none of the Darkhold dungeons look very appealing, because we didn't have mitts, and really the only things that were open to us were Pendant Swamp, Pendant Thieves. With that bow that Eri just picked up, we've got Crystal Pod on the table immediately.
Do you know what's open right now? I don't want to say anything because people like that stuff, but do you see all the pendants we have open now?
Oh, no, I don't see anything. Why? I specifically left out Pendant Eastern, by the way. But you do have a good point.
I don't want to mention anything because people get typed up.
No, I guess the question is so I guess you know what, after you beat Pendant Swamp and Pendant Eastern and Pendant Thieves Town, we can go check the pedestal after we get the fire rod from somewhere and clear out Skullwoods.
Unless it's on pedestal.
Yeah, oh, that's true. Oh man, that would be so mean. Do you know how mean that would be? Like a fire rod on pedestal? Like you would never want to go back there without the fire rod, but then if it's actually there, it's like you're just basically gonna be leaving it there for quite some time.
So, Obscure, what is your next play? Like, no matter what he's doing right now, if he goes, well, I guess he's gonna flute here, but he's gonna last like, I don't know. Okay, so he flutes back to Kag, so I think he's gonna run here to back of Escape. I don't know if this is faster or not.
Oh, versus Sanctuary? Like, does he want to? I guess he wants to save his portal. That's my guess. Versus a saving quit. Otherwise, would there be a reason for him to just not save and quit to sink and then run?
I have no idea.
Okay, this is. Maybe we can basically ask him about this. But at least Obscure is on the right. Well, swim route in this case for him. He did get his pearl, so with the gloves, with the hammer, with the pearl that he's just ended up picking up, he now has a Darkhold access. So this is probably going to be maybe either tablet check. No, this is going to be somewhere.
Do you know what the worst part is right now for Obscure is?
What's that?
He will not have that bow right now because he haven't beat.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and also so he does have he does have Desert Palace available to clear, and of course, that's exactly where the indirectly that's where the bow is because it's in Pyramid Fairy.
So he's gonna double dip pod here without. It's bow locked as well. Because it was an item in the first chest.
Oh, okay. That's a very good observation. I was watching Obscure the entire time. Oh, man, though. I mean, this is kind of really unfortunate for Obscure, too, because, kind of as just a consequence, right? So Eri manages to single dip, right? Eastern Palace. Desert Palace, Obscure, is going to have to double dip Desert. Is going to double dip Pod here as well.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
jeez. Yeah. All right. So well, the fact that it's obscure is here. I'm assuming. Actually, do you know if he can mimic left to the back?
I think he knows how to do it. I'm not sure.
Okay. I guess we're gonna find out. Okay. We are. Maybe this is a confirmation that he cannot, or he is choosing not to sequence break right now. But yeah, that Canis Maria that that Eri picked up, certainly very required. Mire and Turtle Rock are crystals. Super helpful though when we eventually go into Ice Palace. Icebreaker could save another couple minutes, basically off your Ice Palace clear time.
And I can see Obscure here when when he's done a Hype Cave here. It's good. I think he might do Swamp. I think.
Yeah.
Or at least routing Bubba's step.
Yeah, this is actually very possible, right? And just because, so Obscure might be looking to play to some of his outs, right? I think you mentioned early on, Alex, that, Obscure might be, maybe tending to try to do some things to increase variance because, like, oh, maybe I'll go some places where, Eri won't check, at least early on, so that, if something is there, could give you more of an advantage. If he thinks that there is something that maybe Eri got that, versus he didn't, maybe he needs to go to other places.
And the fact that he might feel behind now because he last located his Moon Pearl / Glove, and he's already done Aya, which is not required. I think he might feel behind and wants to do something that Eri might not do. But I mean, Eri doesn't. I mean, Eri does have some kind of stuff you can check right now, but I mean, Swamp right now is quite appealing as well.
Yeah. Especially where Obscure probably thinks that this is probably a place that Eri either is not going to go to, or he has, or he's going to do basically other things.
And the fact that Obscure really hates pendant thieves, I understand why he dips Swamp.
Yeah, and also, for what it's worth, like, Swamp is also the green pendant. I guess I'm kind of curious to see if Obscure will just kind of full clear out this place, in one go, right? Like, instead of going to the back directly, maybe he'll, I guess, maybe see what ends up happening. Because it's always a really terrible feeling when you come into Swamp and you decide to do, like, the left side first, on your first trip, and then you just find like the map and compass like on the left side, or you find that like it's like a map and like a big key, and you go all the way back, and it's just like, and then you get the compass inside or something like that, and it's like
that one is like, it's so hard to like this dungeon is the worst when it comes to that. There should be a game mode where it's like the compass and map is always on the left side.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, yeah. Let's put in a ticket for the devs. That would actually be pretty cool.
Just have the big key in the big chest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, make Swamp a little bit, less painful and tedious. Speaking of, though, Obscure, at least he's gonna do compass chest first. So one, I guess, like, maybe minor difference is if you had already made a decision to do, the left side, it's a slightly faster in order to make a clean dash upwards and do this chest before left side. Or, sorry, to do the chest after left side. Maybe Obscure, though, is kind of like hedging his bets. Heart Container, which is, one of the, 3 effective ones that are placed, was found at least in the map chest. We did get a little bit more money. It looks like Obscure says, you know what? I didn't see map or compass. I saw my 2 items. So let's go.
I think it's just better to just clear the dungeon now. Like, even if you end up Obscure, that's not how you do dive down. Comes from that one guy that never does it.
Oh, hey! Do you see where Eri is here in Lost Woods?
Yeah, it's,
oh my gosh!
I mean, you have all 3 pennants open right now, so doing this.
Oh,
half magic! But you not have magic in this game mode.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I think even if half magic were to exist in Open Plus, that was not something that Eri and Obscure were going to go for.
Well, at least Eri will have peace on his mind that he will never have to go back to Easter.
That's true. That's true. Alright, though looks like the area is, well, paying homage to the, ladder founder. We are here in Skull Woods.
I mean, this dungeon, Skullwoods, had so many progression items in the qualifiers for the main tournament, so I will have to say that Dunka is always right when it comes to Skullwoods.
Dunka might know what he's doing, but yeah, well, of course, yeah, Eri. Oh, is he gonna get this? Nice early bomb jump on Eri's side. Holy cow!
Wow.
Dunka. This is Dunka's invitational ladder. This is his tournament. Late Skullwoods is definitely not let Dunka down. We just found the myths in the front of Skullwoods as our next progression item.
Do you know what we're looking for now, Clear Mouse?
Are we looking for a couple rods?
Yeah, that's the only things we have left in this game to find. Like, we're so close to go mode already.
Yeah, this is actually really fast. Independent, especially based on looking at how Eri has route this, he has done a phenomenal job. Manages to basically basically all his trips so far into dungeons have been just single divs, which is pretty dang amazing.
And so far, wow, okay.
Oh, that ice rod though in the back of Swamp Palace. That is actually a pretty good out here for Obscure. Eri has a lot of stuff to do before he'll potentially want to make a decision to go into Swamp.
So, in this, okay, so that could actually swing it a little bit for Obscure. I mean, Obscure still needs Slide a Miracle at this point, because you have to...
It is certainly a very strong current for Obscure to swim against, especially, Eri is like, a tsunami, at this point. But I would certainly say that Ice Rod, though, definitely buys Obscure, let's say, like, a really good amount of time.
Yes. I don't know what, like, it's so hard to tell what Obscure will do after all this. But it definitely feels good for Eri. But it also feels good for Obscure with that Ice Rod, because it looked like there was nothing inside the swamp at that point. It looked like there was no progression at all.
Oh yeah, especially right. So I was a heart container, 50 rupees. He got a a red boomerang, and a map on the left side. So it's like, oh well, great. What kind of decision have I done? Looks like there is one more item here in the big chest. We must have gotten the compass back there in like the flooded room. Looks like at least if it's in the big chest, it's not going to be a big deal for him to come back in. One item,
Just look at this. It's gonna just be a fire rod here, right? In the big chest.
Oh my gosh, dude! If both rods are here, holy cow! That is, that is gonna be.
I think it's
pretty big swing for Obscure for sure.
Eri's playing the what is it, like the Rule of Fire?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. But so we do have Icebreaker, so Eri is going to be able to take a couple shortcuts in Ice Palace. But you are correct though. Bombos versus Fire Rod is certainly it's still pretty significant difference in terms of time. Bombos is also really slow, and you have to cast it multiple times, right? Not to mention, of course, Eri is world record holder for NMG. He kind of knows what to do with the Fire Rod in this game, in this dungeon.
And I am also 2 items, nice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and Obscure, check Bombo's tablet. This is actually really good routing for Obscure. The fact that he went from Swamp to Bombo's tablet to Desert Palace, which in this case he 100% needs, right? He's also probably eyeing Pyramid Fairy, because you mentioned this earlier, right? We got 2 red crystals super early, and beatable ones at that. So Pyramid Fairy, of course, which we know has the bow that Eri had in order to beat out Swamp. Pod is only going to be probably next on Obscure's docket.
So the good part for Obscure will be that, well, hopefully, whenever he gets that bow from Pyramid Fairy, that he will turn in that green pendant as well, and maybe, just maybe, there's some kind of progression we need, which in this case would be Fire Rod.
Yeah, that is 100% true. You know, Eri doesn't really have too much of a reason to kind of go back to the pod eastern area. And, you know, it's not going to be like a very, you know, long trek, you know, for both of these guys, just because, you know, they do have the flute, so, you know, fluting back to 5 and then running to Saha isn't going to be a big a deal, but yeah, the fact that Obscure does have the green pendant is going to make things much more efficient.
Still one item here, I think, in ice.
Yeah, I don't think I saw anything else.
And I think.
Yeah, Eri, I think so. He looks like he's farming up a little bit of extra health before he dives from the cold stare. You know, so he does have blue mail, which of course is the armor cap in this game, but you know, he's still on 6 hearts, 7 hearts. It's not exactly going to be, you know, super pleasant. We do certainly want a little bit of safety, so Eri doesn't, you know, especially, you know, nobody really wants to be in one-hit KO mode when facing cold stare.
It's fine. Yeah. It's the NMG world record holder here. It's fine. You know what he's doing, right?
That is true. I cannot deny that. I was gonna say the one thing that Obscure, you know, he's really using that ice rod. Eri did not have that when he was in desert. He basically just had to do, you know what, spins. The Obscure did a really nice job though with the ice rod for Lamos. It is surprisingly difficult to use. Like the timing is very different.
Yeah, the ice rod is a little bit slower than the fire rod as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Oh, oops.
Yeah, the bombos, you know, usage is a little bit different than the normal, you know, 8 fire rod shots. Eri looks like he's just trying to be a little bit more conservative. But yeah, Pot's got a little bit away from him, but otherwise we're good.
That's another crystal for Eri. That's 4 in total.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Eri has made really good progress.
It's gonna be interesting to see what Eric's next play is, because he can go to Pendant Swamp, Pendant Thieves, or
I assume he's going to Mire at this point?
Yeah, Mire / I guess maybe Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, well, so like he has the cane. He does have all 3 medallions.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so and Mire's a crystal, so this actually looks pretty reasonable.
I actually forgot that he I actually forgot that he Cane of Samaria as well, because that was in pod.
Right. So a shortcut that Obscure is going to have a little bit of time save over Eri is that because he did Aghanim, he could basically just walk straight to, you know, the castle tower gate and then just take the portal there.
Yeah.
And there is Obscure's bow. Oh yeah, and apparently we got Sankard and the other man. This Pyramid Fairy is actually quite loaded. I didn't realize that.
Also nice refill as well with a fairy in a bottle as well.
Yeah. That's one of the other features, you know, of this mode is that, you know, we are capped at 2 bottles and they always come empty. You know, we don't get any freebie safeties, so, you know, certainly, especially for, you know, earlier SGL, you know, from last year, or especially, you know, for Open Plus, you see people try and get like play their luck to see what the Waterfall Fairy can give you. You know, especially if you get like a blue potion, or in this case a fairy, it's always gonna be really nice for safety.
I actually thought for a second there that Obscure was going to go and do Ice Palace without Samaria, but he's going back for that Silver Arrows.
That is actually very interesting. I honestly thought that once he saw Silvers and and Zora was basically just like here, we weren't ever going to see Silvers on Obscure side. It is actually a bit of a time commitment, but it looks like he is interested in getting them, so...
Hey, it makes sense. Like, you still have to do, like, all these, like, Victorious and...
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, I forgot.
Landmo and GT Climb and all that stuff, so you actually do save a little bit of time.
Yeah, especially on being a little bit of lower health as well, you know, just in terms of, like, maximum health. You know, Silvers certainly could be, you know, as much defensive as it is offense. You know, you can't get hit you can't die if you never get hit.
That is true. Unless you make some kind of an oopsie, I guess.
Yeah, it's always kind of a danger when you're trying to fire off a bunch of silver arrows and then you accidentally flip swap to the mirror. That's definitely a pretty big oopsie.
That happened before.
Never, never, never.
It's gonna be
All right.
interesting to see the green pennant turn in right now.
All right. So we already know that Ice Rod, which is probably arguably one of the biggest values that we got out of Swamp Palace. Oh my gosh, dude!
Oh,
dude,
obscure.
Obscure. It has. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, yeah, like we were talking about. Does he want to go back into Swamp Palace to check that one item? Like was that the fire rod? That would be pretty mean. Turns out that the green pendant turn in is the fire rod. So.
Do you know what this means for Obscure? That he will be in go mode when he does Skull Woods later on.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, like okay, so yeah, he's gonna get the Kina Samari here in the back of Pod.
Yeah.
After he clears it out. With the fire rod that he just got from Swamp Palace, he is going to be motivated in order to clear out Swamp Palace or Skull because, well, he could clear it with the fire rod. And then once he gets, his mitts from the front, that is his ticket up to, the rest of the game.
Yeah, and he can just go mode everything else. I mean, you can't really go mode Turtle Rock, but. Or Meyer, because it looks like the what is it called now again? The big key is in a trash location.
It is in a location where we are going to be treated, to Aries' shortcut back to the boss. That is so nicely done. Nice job, Ari. This is one of the reasons why if Ari finds boots, he is going to be able to go wherever he wants.
See, that's why you don't want to play against Ari, and I had to do it twice to make it. Why? That's why.
Yes, I'm sorry that you were part of the cannon fodder, Alex.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh man, like this. Geez, Ari looked like he was in such a lead, right? At least like a dungeon or something behind. Obscure also did Agnum when it was not required. This race has suddenly swung very heavily, towards Obscure side, basically with not only the Ice Rod being in the back of Swamp, but also the Fire Rod, for the Green Pin to turn in. So it kind of hinges right now on whether or not Ari is going to make the decision to go to Swamp kind of after Meyer.
Do you remember that miracle I told you that Obscure needed? I think that miracle actually happened.
It actually did happen, dude. You are 100% correct. I mean, it's just wow, dude.
Like it's so insane. We have thieves down that will never, from Obscure, he will never have to go in there. But there's like Smith's Chain, Dark Death Mountain, stuff like that Ari might do. I don't know what if Ari likes Pen Swamp, but there's one item inside that you need, and then you need to actually kill the boss to get the fire rod with the green penetrate. Like, why?
You are very correct. I mean, and the fact that you mentioned up Dark Death Mountain, right? Obscure, after he gets mitts, that is going to be his go mode. He is not going to have to touch any of that. Dark Death Mountain though has actually a lot of checks, right? He's got Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny Cave. Right. It's probably not. Oh, I don't want to think about that. But it's just one of those, another, temptations in this case, for both, at least, for Ari, in order to be able to try, pick up both of his rods.
It's just ridiculous that we had both rods technically in Swamp.
Yeah, especially, and I certainly couldn't imagine Obscure not finishing, Swamp at this point, or at the point where he, at the point where he did. But I guess I don't know. I guess Ari would definitely finish it once he makes the decision to go to Swamp.
Whenever he goes there, I think he will try and skip left side. I think. I'm not sure, but you definitely need to go and kill Argus, that's for sure. We are trying to get the
We are doing some live technical help on the fly. Thank you so much, Dunka. Looks beautiful. Really do appreciate the help and the tech support.
See, this is why I have Dunka, because not
Exactly,
only does he provide us with ladder, he provides us with skull boots, having good items, and now he's doing tech support as we're playing.
Yeah, I mean, Dunka is, is a well, a respected and beloved community member, right? Not only for the runners, you mentioned Skull Woods, also for restreams here, basically, setting up all this entire infrastructure, basically, just for us to be able to showcase, this particular race. Alright, though Obscure, finishing up Helmasaur with his silver arrows. He did pick up his Cane of Samaria. Yeah, of course, like, everything's up to date, by the way. Yeah, thanks again to our awesome tracker, Kamir, for doing all the button clicking. Looks absolutely amazing. I love this behind-the-scenes look. It's awesome.
Yeah, I like all this extra stuff we get to see here. Only on the
ALTTPR ladder, yeah. Alright, though, yeah, so okay, alright, you mentioned that, with those mitts, Dark Death Mountain is looking pretty tempting for Eri. That's exactly where he is. So he at least is gonna get, I should know what he's gonna get that's gonna be beneficial for him.
Extra health, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he got another heart container, but, so we are capped to 2 bottles. We are not gonna get half magic, even though, we did already see it was, it was on the pedestal today, not that Eri was gonna get it regardless. We're capped at Temperate Sword, we're capped at Blue Mail, we're capped at Fighter Shield. Yeah, this is gonna be, I think, pretty empty for him.
Hey, look at that.
There's another shield.
Eri couldn't dodge that shield, at least. I bet he's super happy.
Yes, super happy, yeah. So right now Eri is basically just looking for both rods, of which... Oh my gosh. We found out from Obscure side that the ice rod is in the waterfall room chest in the back of Pendant Small Palace, and the fire rod was on the green pendant turn in. So that that routing decision, for Obscure to kind of go into Swamp Palace, I would say on the earlier side, or at least earlier than Eri, and certainly, kind of put Obscure back into this race.
And do you remember? Oh no. Oh, this is not good for Eri. You can't go really far into this dungeon without the
Oh, I see. Yeah, Eri, man, it didn't even register to me, Alex. Yeah, so so Eri is here inside Turtle Rock, without a fire rod, and you mentioned it, we can go all the way to Laser Bridge, I think. If he's oh my god, Eri.
No.
Oh my
This
god.
is not good. This is not good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, so Eri is very precocious, very scary health situation.
There we go. Obscure is in full go mode. But he also Obscure, you need to beat this dungeon.
Did he just save it quick?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, well, we're gonna go at some point, I guess, straight back to Skull Woods. Maybe he was probably just too excited,
I think it was because he mirrored and went back to the drop down that he dropped down from.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, at least...
Oh no!
Oh my god!
You're not telling me that we're going to Laser Bridge without the fire rod.
Oh my god!
Do not tell me that. Like, seriously.
Yeah, this is, man, I mean, I don't even know if you can call this, like, key layout cooperative or not. I mean, this case, like, it gives you a lot of access into Turtle Rock, but right now, we wanted to be locked out as soon as possible on Ari's side, just so he doesn't spend, basically, more time basically in this dungeon. So, we talked about Obscure had, like, double-dipping earlier dungeons twice, right? He double-dipped Desert, he ended up double-dipping Pod, I think it was one. Eri is going to double-dip Turtle Rock, and this is a very expensive dungeon to come back to.
And this is one of the worst dungeons to double-dip, because it's so slow. Like, it's the slowest dungeon in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and I mean, especially now when you will find no fire rod, no ice rod, and after this you'll probably go to swamp because now you feel like you're wasting time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's so hard to. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what decision do you think is going to be the least of the bad ones, right?
I don't know. And we're just getting all the small keys right now. We're going to
Yeah.
Lace Bridge. We're doing it live.
Oh my gosh, Harry.
Well, I mean, at least we're seeing a turtle rock without the fire rod. That's
Yeah, I mean, Ares' execution is certainly getting him, very far, right? You can see the fact that he does have beams saves just a little bit of time on every room. And this is certainly going to be some of the time given back to Obscure, right? Especially, Obscure did, Aga when it wasn't required, right? And, so Ares certainly does still have, good amount of buffer. But the time is definitely ticking on Ares' side.
yes, but, well, yeah, but Obscure will not check a single chest in ice because he knows he will find nothing. Meyer, he has to open chests in Turtle Rock. So Meyer and Turtle Rock, he will not gain anything. Well, he will gain on Turtle Rock because he will just, beat it without having to think about it. But there's another small key, so you don't actually have to find the Firelock side in Turtle Rock.
My gosh.
That's
yeah.
Wow. That's one Turtle Rock you don't see.
That is, often. I mean, yeah, from Ares' perspective, that was, probably one of the worst, Tiara key layouts, just because it got you all the way over to Laser Bridge, right? And you cannot beat dungeon. All right,
wait,
so.
But, yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, wasn't that like a fire? Isn't that map and compass on that side? But it's not. Here's some good news, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, maybe Ares gonna take. Yeah, maybe Ares gonna take care of some overworld checks. Bombo's tablet into Swamp Palace. This is actually looking very promising in this case, for Ares.
I think. Yeah. And it's gonna be hard to tell who's in the lead after this.
Yeah, no, for sure. And of course, so Ares is gonna get his blue rupee, right? Because this is gonna be a shield replacement or captive fire. I'm sorry, fighter's shield. He might do K45 before this. There is also the shovel, which I'm not sure if anyone actually has gone turn in. These are all very viable options before Swamp, right? Because they're really close by. Swamp is a pretty big commitment, but you know what? Ares says, forget any more overworld checks. I'm going to Swamp right now. This is, very good news, especially for fans of Ares.
Well, I think it's also the fact that he feels behind because of that Turtle Rock play. Maybe.
That is also very true. Right. I mean, yeah, you mentioned really earlier, right? Especially, if once he ends up seeing both rods are kind of here, one rod directly in Swamp, one rod indirectly in Swamp. And he also did Mimic Cave, right? In Turtle Rock. These are going to be things that Obscure probably did not do, right?
So the thing is, when he finds his ice rod here, I mean, he will need that. He has to turn in that
yes.
as soon as possible. But he will have to go back to Skull Woods, beat Skull. It's going to be a pretty fast one because Ares execution is just top tier.
Yeah.
But the good part, well, I guess the good part for Ares, whenever he goes back to Rock afterwards, that he will not have to check any chests at all.
That's true. We already got all the keys necessary. It's just going to be, I guess, a matter of going through the motions and making your way back to Trinex.
Yeah, and also just checking you, is he done yet? Because I don't think you're feeling that great right now if you're Ares. But at the same time, if you're Obscure, I don't think you're feeling that great either.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Obscure, I think, has probably had more kind of mental damage pile up, especially, early on, right? He lasso-fated his Moon Pearl, which was in the back of Escape, did unnecessary Aga, kind of as a result, so he thinks that he's probably, bleeding a lot of minutes, especially early on. But, the fact that he did, find the Ice Rod and the Fire Rod, which he is basically just, using to annihilate Coldstare here, certainly brought him sort of very much back into this race. So hopefully he's feeling a little bit better, from Obscure's perspective.
I think if I'm Obscure right now, I really hate Back of Escape because yesterday in his Invitational race, he did last locate his flippers. Yes, he did last locate his flippers inside the back of Escape. At like 1 hour 15 minutes. Don't ask me how that was even possible, but he did that. Sorry, Obscure, if you're ever watching this back. I didn't mean to.
These guys are trailblazers. They do. They uncover, undiscovered and uncharted territory, much faster than the rest of us. So it's just part of, like what these guys are really capable of.
And there's Ice Rod. So
there is the Ice Rod, yes. All right, yeah, very good news, so that is certainly one piece of the puzzle for Eri. Looks like he is going to go finish up Argus. Right, so the most important part for Eri right now is to be able to kill Argus, which I'm sure he's very capable of doing, and then go turn it in.
Yeah, skip left side, skip the big chest. If you're Eri.
Yeah, and of course,
all the corners you can.
Yeah, but it's still going to be a good question, right? Because there was only one. Oh no, there will be 2 items from Eri's perspective, whether or not he wants to come back in. From Obscure's side, when he went in to do Swamp the first time, he just did left side immediately, and so he only had to go back to the big chest for one item. Looks like though Eri just missed the 0 cycle, ended up getting an empty one. Kind of got a little bit slashing, and 1 silver arrow. Let's see if he wants to go back.
I'm very curious to see, like, will Eri turn in that green pens fast, or will he hold on to it? Because you're just looking for a fire rod.
It is a fast check, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have that many things left, right? You turn in that green pennant, you don't have to do dig game and chess game and thieves. I can't really see him not doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we are in the dark world. Yeah, right. Right. Part of the issue is like locality, right? You mentioned all of these, dig game, chess game, which we still have not seen on either Eri or Obscure side. It is, we're here in the dark world. We're right there, right? K45, shovel, but in order to turn in the green pendant, which it is, a relatively fast check, we still have to mirror over to the light world, and then go turn it. But looks like Eri is not going to be interested in getting that red boomerang on left side swamp. Here is only 1 more item. Where are we going? We're turning in the green pendant. We're gonna get go mode on Eri's side very, very shortly.
Okay, so this is
a tight race.
It just comes down to who can route Turok fastest, and in this case, Eri will have that advantage, I feel like. Because he also has to go straight for Trinix.
Yeah, well, you still have to traverse the rest of the dungeon. I mean, so, like, Obscure, like, is going to still be opening up chests. He doesn't have to do Mimic Cave, for example, though. Like, that is going to be some amount of time.
That's true.
Yeah, and then, Eri, he needs to basically finish up the Skull Woods, at this point.
Oh, right. Isn't there, like, a small key in the big chest of Turok?
There was a small key in the big chest, correct.
Yeah, so you need to go and grab that one, unless... Yeah, because the
big key was vanilla.
Yeah, so that's okay. So then, yeah.
Oh, jeez, Eri almost got knocked inside the pit from the rope. It's like I've run energy so many times. I don't need to deal with this.
I think the is going to come down to execution / GT big key at this point.
Yeah, that is certainly true. GT. This is certainly very much within that range of GT routing contention,
because it's so close between these two right now. It's too hard to say who's actually in the lead at this point.
Yeah,
because they will be in Turok around the same time, I think.
Oh, Obscure. Oh, okay. Maybe just those fire rod shots didn't end up landing correctly, but this is also Eri could not do Spooky when he was here because he didn't have the fire rod. Obscure though might be. Hopefully he's not getting too frazzled by basically just kind of like the small things that are not going right here in Iron. Alright, Eri, you mentioned something about Eri being pretty good at this, this game and fights. This is pretty NMG as we're gonna get. Lots of dash poking here.
Yeah, that's another reason why you don't want to play Eri.
Yeah. At least if not for, if there's something like tournament worthy on the line, right? And, I think like it's to be able to play Obscure or Airy, right? As a race, you can certainly learn a lot from them. But if you have something on the line, like if you need to advance into the next stage of groups or brackets or whatever, they're probably not your first choice in terms of opponents.
I just don't want to play Airy at all. Let's just face it. It's Airy.
Oh. What if he gives you like a couple minutes head start?
I don't think that's even like I don't think that's like he's just gonna sit there and laugh when it's done.
No. No, I mean, in addition, and like Airy and Obscure, like obviously, like they are, some of like probably the best players in the entire community. Super nice and humble, very down to earth, very, very, very helpful, just very outstanding people in the community.
Now I'm gonna say Airy is like so chilled out. The same thing with Obscure. So if you don't follow these two people, you should definitely do it because they can teach you stuff that will blow your mind when it comes to this game.
And actual good things, like, not last locating your flippers in the back of the escape, or maybe,
Yeah.
But you watch, the execution, it's very evident that they have put in a ton of time and effort and practice into basically playing this game.
I mean, there's a reason to why these two are in the Invitational ladder.
Yeah.
I think both of them have been in the Invitational before. I don't quote me on that, but I feel like they should have been.
Yeah, that certainly sounds very, very reasonable. So speaking of, right, you mentioned this race is pretty close. So yeah, Airy is basically dashing, all the way, to Trinex. He is like, oh yeah, I can't do a straight dash here because the key, the chest that contained a small key is in my way. But I mean, this lead is very. It's not necessarily artificial, but it certainly does not appear to be, a very. The margin is not very big at all.
It's not big at all, but you can definitely tell that since Airy's been here before, he will definitely have a bigger lead over Obscure.
Yeah, you can actually see in this case, Airy, not quite exactly like the best RNG in terms of pokies, but yeah, he doesn't have to go outside. And Obscure, this actually might be, a very reasonable trade-off, or, like a wash. Because, Airy went outside to do like Mimic Cave, which Obscure is definitely not going to go do. But on the flip side, Obscure here is doing the Firelock side of Turtle Rock, which Airy did not do.
Yeah. So they're like, the time... let's say it like this, the time... I would say they're quite even, since on time-wise, since he did Aga earlier, Obscure. So they're like back to like where they should be, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, alright, so Obscure hopefully is going to not have as painful of time in chomps as, Airy did, at least the first time. Looks okay. Airy really did almost die near chomps the first time. But speaking of, we're back in Trinex. NMG world record holder with a Temper Sword, Fire Rod, Ice Rod. This looks, this looks like an Airy fight. Alright, meanwhile, though, Obscure is making his way. Yeah, so unfortunately, fortunately, we did see that the big key is in its middle location, so Obscure is going to have to go and open up this door and get the big key, and he is going to have to go outside in order to get a small key. But of course, the good news is that he's in go mode. He does not have to touch Mimic Cave, which it is right there. It does cost a surprisingly large amount of time. You got to mirror twice. Once to get to the light world, once to get back to the dark world. You got to take care of all the mimics. Like a couple of screen transitions in there. It's surprisingly not cheap. Alright, yeah, so meanwhile, though, Airy has picked up his 7th crystal, finally. The Turtle Rock, it was so pleasant for him the first time. He's like, let's go back and visit a second time. It's kind of like Disney World. But we are now finally on to GT. We're only gonna have to go do this place once, so feel free in this case to guess where you think that big key is 1 through 22. Keep in mind though that big key, depending on where it is, could also cause a little bit of variance between airy and obscure.
Yeah, so if you're obscure, whenever you hit, unless airy finds it real fast here, you go to Tyrone, right?
That is a decision. I don't know though, right? Because I'm sure you were feeling pretty awful for the first half of the scene, but then you picked up the ice rod, picked up the fire up pretty early. Like hopefully that does kind of alleviate some of your your mental damage, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't feel as desperate.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. It's in Stalfo's room.
Well, so. That's
really
quite unfortunate. That's quite unfortunate for Obscure because he's not even done with Throw Rock yet.
Yeah, I think at this point, I don't think there's. I guess unless Obscure does Hope Room first, and there's a small key, it's going to cost him a little bit more time. But it's probably not going to be the difference maker at this point. Now, of course, like we still the. Ares still has a GT climb, on top of him. He of course has done this, hundreds of thousands, if not more, of times. Saw a really nice arrow strat in order to hit the switch. I want to say that saves like 20 frames or something like that. Always looks really cool. It does get a really nice Cannonball Z here, being able to just dash straight through cannonballs.
Right, so you're telling me that Eri has played this game multiple times before?
Well, how many times do you think it takes in order to get a world record?
I mean, you need to pass.
Asking for aspiration.
I guess a few years, maybe.
A few years, okay. Yeah. So I would venture then to say that he has probably played this game at least once or twice in those few years that he has since he got world record.
Yeah, you can definitely see that Ares done lab mode 2 a few times with silver arrows.
Yeah, I don't know where that is in his muscle memory though, because NMG doesn't have silvers. And maybe
he plays the hundo.
That's true. I was even just thinking that after I said that. I was like, it seems to be, there's like the NMG weekly, and then there is the post NMG weekly for the Hundo weekly, or something like that. So, yeah, but you definitely have silver, so for Hundo. Alright, so Obscure though, he has finished up Turtle Rock, took down Trinex, so he is now also going to go into Ganon's Tower. Alright, so yeah, let's in this case hope that the key layout is going to be very kind to Obscure. So right, the worst case scenario for Obscure is that there is going to be a small key in Hope Room, which case if he decides to go that route, he can probably do Compass Room before he goes back into Stalfo's Room.
I actually have no idea how Obscure normally routes GT, because you don't see him do that often, because he plays all these like mystery and all the other ladder modes, so it's just like it's hard to tell. So Eri failed hovering, and he felt like, nah, let's not do it one more time. let's kill more worm.
Yeah, and of course, yeah, Eri not going to pad his collection rate even more, not even going to open up. I mean, we didn't even see him open up, just like also Obscure, we did not see them open up basically anything after, or sorry, one chest after the big key. Certainly from their perspective, they really can't get much more, right? They have silvers, they have tempers, they have fighter shield, blue mail, and nothing at this point is going to help them. And I think they're pretty well stocked on resources and ammo as well, so...
Yeah, I know that I think Obscure bought some potions as well before Meyer.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that. Just in case, because Meyer tends to deal a lot of damage, especially when you're already on low health and like blue mail, it still hurts.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like blue mail has certainly been, super helpful, right? It is basically half damage, for everything. But when it comes to bosses, it really is just like one heart less. So it's not as much protection as you would really like it to be.
Obscure is doing the gauntlet while our friend Eri on the other side is just gonna drop down to Ganon and just be like, "Hey, I'm here again." It's been like 3,000 times the last few days I've been playing against you.
Yeah. I mean, at least for Rando, Ares only been here with boots how many times? I don't know, a handful?
God knows.
Alright, though. Obscure is certainly, not very far behind. He is on Limbo too, so he is definitely going to make a very good showing. This is also kind of the consequence of, wow, that's really nice recovery though on Obscure's side with the silver arrows. Yeah, you can see in this case, if you miss the silver arrow the first time, the amount of lag and timing that you have to deal with in order to try and recover, the fight is very difficult. So it was a really nice job that Obscure even got, another shot landed on the first cycle.
So, Master, you're telling me that there's lag in this game?
Well, only if you're too strong, because the game's like, I think you're too good. We need to compensate, in order to give other people a chance.
And that should be the last silver arrow for Ares. So hopefully it doesn't fall here. We saw that in the main tournament. The shoutouts to nobody that we're not going to mention.
Oh my gosh, that was definitely a low light for that particular runner, who shall remain nameless. Yeah, keep your G's out in chat for Eri for taking the victory of this race. With among his group versus Obscure, a very hard fought victory indeed.
I was gonna say it like this: that group that Obscure Eri is in is not. It could have been a main
scary, by the way. Yeah, right. So I think So Aries group is Eri, Obscure, Paradox, and Humbug. Is that right?
Yeah, that is
correct. Like these names are scary.
That is some top tier runners, right? I mean, all of them are on the ladder in the Invitational, but just that group in particular is insane.
Yeah. Alright, meanwhile, Obscure's gonna finish off actually very shortly. He's already gonna be on Agatu. I think the patterns probably, I think, were okay, minus a one blue ball shot that kind of like messed things up with the second energy shot. Alright, I hope that counts as 3. Sometimes like the game is just very finicky, and when you think it lands, it actually doesn't. Like if they're too close together. Nice. That was a really nice 3 cycle. Yeah, this was a really nice triple at the very end. That was really well done on Obscure side, being able to read that pattern.
I feel like Obscure might have played this game a few times as well. Just maybe a few times.
Just maybe. You know what? I'm will. Are you a gambling person, Alex? Are you willing to place a wager on that?
Maybe not right now. I've been on the most luckiest streak at least. So.
Yeah, better to save your luck for actual rando.
Yeah, that could be something. Let me not say it like that. I'm really happy I'm not having to play against these guys.
Yeah.
Well, even if you just see the boots in the beginning, playing against these guys, you don't want to play against these guys on boots. From the first few seconds, it's
yeah. No, I mean, and like Booth's movement and execution, right? And it is. You can actually waste a lot of time, or cost yourself a lot of time. If, for example, like if you end up like walking everywhere, you can't really control the speed, and it probably is more detrimental, than helpful. So also yeah. Alright, Obscure though, already onto. Oh my gosh, Obscure!
Obscure, what are you even doing?
Dude, do not fall off, dude. Like, there's not water down there. You really don't want to swim. All right, okay, no more panic attacks. Obscure is absolutely just fine. He is just taking his last potion just to make sure everything is all hunky dory before he takes down Ganon with silver arrows.
He did spend all his. I didn't mean he did spend all his rupees earlier for those potions, so you better use them, right?
Yes, that is true. It's there's no sunk cost fallacy here. All right, that is Ganon down for Obscure. Get your GGs out in chat for Obscure finishing up this race, and he did a phenomenal job. This was one heck of a race.
I mean that comeback kind of that Obscure pull off with the Fire Rod and Ice Rod early on. Holy crap! And I think we're joined by Eri.
Hello,
GGs.
Eri. GGs.
Hey, what's up? Hope you had a good time.
Did you have a good time, Eri?
I was feeling pretty good. Like Light World was very messy. At least I didn't get faded into Aghanim, but I can't believe there was nothing behind the nits. Yeah, once I did a lot of dungeons and overworld, while Mitz was possibly good for Obscure, I was like, well, I don't know how I feel now.
Yeah, like, so, yeah, you end up chasing, I guess, the myths, very understandably. I guess, like, what made you, I guess, go into Swamp after Turtle Rock? Or what made you kind of go up the mountain and into Turtle Rock? Were you just basically see, like, let's say I see how far I can get in Turtle Rock before I get locked out, and then you just got all the way to Lindsay Bridge?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I thought, okay, well, Dark Death Mountain is at this point probably the densest and most logical location, because if I get far, I can just go straight into Turtle. If I get an ice rod there, at least I already have it, and like once I find fire rod, I can immediately leave whatever I'm doing, like somewhere else on the world. Yeah, it was very unfortunate that I could basically get all the way to Laser Bridge. That was definitely not the intention, but like if you commit, you kind of have to go all the way, I feel. Swamp afterwards was just hedging my bets. It's like, okay, what was Obscure most likely to do on their Dark World axis? And, well, Swamp has been available since the start. It's a green pendant. Let's just go there. And that was kind of it. It was very lucky that both items were there. I'm very happy that at least it was Ice Rod first and then Fire Rod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, actually, right. You mentioned that you thought maybe like Light World was, probably not the most straightforward route. Like, so at least I think you had the luxury of single dipping all of the Light World dungeons, right? Because you only had to go to Desert once. I guess because you did Eastern before Desert, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Obscure, so he went to Saha, got the book, and then beelined to Desert, which I think was also something else that cost him.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I think it's pretty reasonable. With Eastern being a pendant, I don't feel it's too bad to go in there and combine it with Saha. The fact that I only had Ether Tablet and Desert open after that was like, okay, well, let's just be efficient. I don't think it's that likely that the bow is, like... I think it would cost more time to go back to the back of Desert or something, rather than chase the book first.
I mean,
It goes both ways. I think both were very reasonable choices. It's hard. The Light World was very hard to route, and I'm not sure how many people would find a really good route through it.
Yeah, I mean, at least from our vantage point, like your Light World routing basically net you, like single dipping, and I think right, you got Poe out of Pyramid Fairy, right, which after Desert and Hera, that lets you basically go to Pod. You got King Samaria. I mean, like it was just kind of like progression item after that until we saw Obscure pull out the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod from Swamp. We're like, oh man, like it looks like she had like a pretty resounding lead at that point.
Yeah, and Once I pulled those, I realized that there was an opportunity that Obscure might have gotten like mid-score mode, and that made me a little bit afraid. So I was a little nervous climbing GT, and like I think it's pretty reasonable, but I didn't know how their route was up till then. It's so easy to just assume that your opponent is doing the best possible route, and not like, oh, whatever could have gone wrong. Like maybe they had a death somewhere, or maybe they did derp somewhere. You never know.
So I guess like all in all, I don't know. So did you feel good, bad, no opinion about finding the real boots so early in this scene? Like I kind of almost feel like with pseudo boots, it's not really like a priority, I guess, to find boots. But I guess you guys were lucky in order to get real boots anyway.
Yeah, I mean, with pseudo boots, it doesn't matter that much. Like, I really like boots just for the movement and not necessarily for the locations it opens up. But it was nice to see the good old letter pop up.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we are also joined by Obscure. GG's.
GG's Obscure.
Yeah, GG's guys. GG's Eri.
Yeah, GG's Obscure.
Oh wow! What a race!
Oh yeah, what a race! Oh yeah, so Obscure, walk us through your light world routing decisions, and I guess like how I guess like maybe your mental state or feeling. So that's right. One thing is also like I guess you didn't have bombs also in Kakariko like when you first were there, and so you ended up skipping like the Master Sword and like the flippers.
Yeah, it could not have gone much worse. Like I found very little, and the things that I skipped was, of course, progression and useful things. I don't know. It's one of those things. You know, you're against Eri, so it's like, okay, I can't mess around. I haven't really got time to go farming for bombs or doing this or doing that. You know, I've got to just keep plowing through. So yeah, of course, missed the flippers, missed the sword, missed the silvers, and then some fighting Moldorm, and then I found the hook shot, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what is going on here? And then of course we found the hammer, no glove, no moon pearl, and and I was kind of setting up for an Agaseed anyway. I was like, okay, I've got 3 swords, we've got a lamp that's in Hera. I was like, let me settle for an Agaseed. I went to desert. I probably shouldn't have gone to desert, to be honest, because I knew I didn't have a glove, but I kind of assumed like moon pearl or glove would be in there, and then I could give me more chance for an Agaseed. So yeah, but the thing is, when you don't have gloves, going back to Eastern's kind of a bit of a time waste because you can't just go up the side route there. So when I skipped Eastern, I was kind of like, okay, Eastern's gone. I'm going to do Aga, and yeah, and just hope it's on the pyramid, the moon pearl, because I kind of felt like at that point it had to be, like it was a chance. And of course it did sit in Eastern, so yeah, I was trying to set up the pod Eastern because I just figured moon pearl was going to be in there. I was like, the best thing I can hope for is moon pearl's in Eastern and it's still an Agaseed. And then of course we get the glove, and then I had to ditch the portal, and I was just like, okay, I was like, I've made the play. Let's continue with this, because the last thing you want to do is you go to make a play and then you leave, and then it was actually the correct play all along. So then went in there, found it was bow locked. Okay, well I'm not going any further. That's silly. And I was like, okay, I'm probably super behind at this point. Like doing Aga, like getting everything super late, going back to pod and blah blah blah. So I was like, I mean, I planned to go to Swamp anyway. We had like the what was it, the flippers, the hammer, everything for Swamp in the light world. So even if I didn't do Aga, I would have done a very early Swamp play. Especially going, like I said, going against Eri, I've got to make some plays somewhere, and I always look for that. I mean, anyone who saw the was it SGL last year, like just dived into Pendant Thieves Town to go to Blind to find the ether, and that just kind of my bailout like against Gamma. So I just feel like I'm looking for an angle like the whole time, and I was like, okay, Swamp Palace could be my angle here. And then of course the Ice Rod, and I was feeling like, great, like Ice Rod, like this might have got me back in the race here. And like I was feeling quite happy. Then of course, like I was really disappointed to find the Fire Rod, which is a weird thing to say. So yeah, I was like, okay, like finding the Ice Rod, I was like, okay, great. But then finding the Fire Rod, I knew I was in trouble again. But yeah. But I also decided to go back to desert as well after swamp. Like, I don't know if anyone caught the my race versus humbug yesterday, but I spent 20 minutes looking for my last location flippers in back of escape. So I was like, I'm not going to fall for this trick again where I miss things early or do a skip early. And then that just kind of wrecks me for the rest of the seed. So I was like, okay, let me just go do book. I mean, the 5-6 bomb was kind of sus anyway. So I was like, okay, let me go do that, and then we'll carry on with what we're supposed to do.
So, Obscure, I might have mentioned your incident with the flippers yesterday a few times, so I was a little bit worried this race as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could have happened. I mean, if it didn't end up last locating, I probably would have left those flippers again. If I got much earlier Dark World access, I probably would have left it again. But yeah, then once I hit the Titans mitts, like I was like, oh my god, like I'm in go mode. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then my execution just went completely out the window. I was just so nervous and I was panicking. I mirrored in like Skullwoods to the left side like 3 times. It was so bad. Like my execution just went out the window. It was gone.
Yeah, that sounds random. It's so hard. You just don't know what you're up against. Like, could be 50 minutes ahead. Could be 5 seconds difference, and every mistake matters. You just don't know.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Clear Mouse.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, even though I know I could have played better, especially at the end. Like I did be unlucky in the light world. Is like to be within 5 minutes of Eri. Like I'm counting that as a win for me. Like everybody's talking about like Eri's the hot name at the moment. So to have a good race against him and be close after making a huge mess of it, which might have led me to do different checks than I would have done. But I mean, I'm still quite happy being this close.
I mean, this was, at least from our vantage point, this was like a really great race, right? And in fact, yeah, you mentioned that the light world was a bit rockier for you, and it certainly did look like Eri made different decisions that basically led him to dark world earlier. But I mean, like when you found the ice rod in swamp, and then you also found the fire rod, I was like that basically got you like a lot of time back, and pretty much it got you right back in this race. So it was a really good decision.
Yeah. Turns out that Mitsuko mode is pretty powerful.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I did have one question for you, Obscure. So one difference early on was that Eri had the flippers from the back of Blind's hut, and you did not when you ended up going over to Zora, and you saw silvers. I guess like what made you kind of go back to go get silvers? I was actually very surprised because I didn't actually expect you to make that trip back.
It was Ganon fight, Viti fight, Helmasaur fight. Like there was still a few places that the silvers could be quite useful. I don't think I had Cape yet either. So I knew they were there. They're not too bad to get to. It's probably like a minute time loss, but then I probably would have saved that time back. And again, it's kind of a mental state knowing you have silvers when you don't have to do a silverless Ganon fight. Like it just helps your mind.
No, that is totally understandable.
Yeah, I think I've officially the first person out this tournament. I don't think I can get back in now.
Wait, really? What is your record?
Oh, I'm 0-2. So I think even if I win tomorrow, I don't think I have any chance. I mean, I might be wrong.
I think that might be like a three-way tiebreaker situation, but I'm not exactly sure. I didn't read the tiebreaker rules.
Yeah, possibly. But I mean, I'm still going to race my best because my race against Paradox can still affect you guys. So it'd only be fair.
Yeah. I mean, so Alex and I were talking about this earlier before you guys kind of jumped in. But I mean, like, obviously top 16, for this ladder invitationals already, got some like extremely powerful names. But I mean, like your group in particular is so scary. It's like you and Eri, Obscure, Humbug, and Paradox. We're just like, oh my gosh, like who the heck is going to make it out of this group, right? Like. It is some really, really stiff competition. Like you guys are all just so good.
Said like I'm happy to be here. Like it's great fun. Like I mean, we're here to like make friends and have a good community, and we do. And like the ladder is just fantastic. Like big shout outs to Dunker and his team. Like Like, what is this now? Season 13 just starting. Like this is incredible. This is what the third tournament that he's run, and with prizes as well. So we're getting more and more tournaments. Like it's brilliant. Like, and the community as well. Like the friendships we're making. Like talking to people you wouldn't necessarily talk to. Like it's wonderful. So, I mean, I hope he keeps it up, and yeah, I hope we all are able to support him for many years. So thank you so much to him.
I can only agree. Yeah.
Ladder just feels like Skullwoods at this point. Never mind.
Skullwoods with a hot progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was my first race against Obscure, so it was very nice to be able to do it in such a high pressure situation, and yeah, finally actually talk a bit. So thank you so much for the race. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, same to you, Eri. Like, I'll see you again in the main tournament, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah. All right. So I guess like any other thoughts or final thoughts before we kind of like wrap things up.
Thanks for the comms. Thanks for tracking. Again, like thanks to Dunka so much. Looking forward to a lot of awesome races, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I also just want to thank Dunka so much. I mean, all the tech, all the community, basically his entire infrastructure, and foundation is basically just let people here like come in and like click buttons and like hop in a Discord channel and basically just talk about the race. And he's just made it basically like so easy, for us. And he takes care of basically all the admin stuff. I mean, like, Dunka is basically invaluable, for doing all of this and putting everything on. I do want to thank Eri and Obscure again. You guys are phenomenal racers, phenomenal people. It was super fun and very heartwarming to be able to see, especially such like a really close and like fun race. So thank you so much. I want to shout out our tracker, who I believe was actually first time tracking, did an awesome job tracking for Obscure. Kamir, definitely clicking all the buttons correctly. And basically, keeping track of like where everything is, even like the item counts were really nice. So thank you so much. And of course, Alex, thank you. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next time.
I know that. Thank you, Clear Mouse, because it was fun, and you told me to do it with you. So I didn't have much time. I didn't have anything else to do, so this was fun. So
Great.
thank you, Eri and Obscure, and shout outs to you, Tracker, Kamir. I hope I didn't butcher your name, because then I will feel sorry. And shout out to Dunka again.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, so of course there are going to be more matches. Dunka, does a pretty good job keeping them on like the Discord channel. I think he also does make events for them as well. So definitely keep your eyes out. So until then, I think have a great afternoon or evening.
Bye bye.